Hello, how are you? I'm running a little bit behind today. I had to get the energy right, had to get the vibe right. Ted needed some assistance today, but here I am, and we're dropping in for day 37 of the Aries Point road opener, and we're in our final week together this week. We're really opening up to receive. So this is all about softening, moving into the heart center, building the ojas, that nectar of life, and moving into more of a receptive space. Hello, good to see you, Julie. Hope you're doing well today. I really felt like this would be a good read to do for the collective because this is really a central focus for us this week in moving through this last week, just so we can align with that um, divine feminine goddess energy, however you wish to relate to it. It's the creative principle, that Shakti. We're really looking to align with that energy this week. And that requires that we open up the heart space, that we soften a bit, that we let go, that we move into more expansion, less of the contracted stance. And that can be some kind of vulnerable territory, but there's also this need to do a bit of visioning this week. That's really coming into really merging everything that's been going on as far as getting our channel clear, getting very aligned with our inner truth so we know the place we want to create from in our future. And there's this piece about really understanding what is it that the heart needs right now. And I did bring in the Kapha Reset course for this final week of sadhana, which is another way of saying ritual. It's to make something mundane divine. It's to elevate something you normally do, just as a day-to-day chore, you could say, and instead devote that act to something higher, to some kind of higher purpose, some higher awareness. An example of this would be cleaning your house, but cleaning your house with intention, such as when you're, clearing off your windows, you are focusing on the intention of being able to see with clarity, okay? Or when you're sweeping your floors, you're doing so with the focus of you're sweeping out the old energy from the old cycle so you can start anew, things like this. So that's an example of a sadhana. You could also do a sadhana in the kitchen, like bread making is a wonderful sadhana because it's just like, it's so visceral, just like getting your hands in the dough and doing the kneading and doing that while working with kirtan, working with mantra. We did bring in a mantra this week. It's the Adi Shakti mantra. And we've worked with that before. And I go over how to pronounce that mantra and work with that in the course. And Ted just gave an affirmation there. It's a wonderful mantra. It's a very beautiful mantra, and it opens you up into that place, total receptivity. So it's very supportive for this work. But there's this Ace of Cups, sadhana, that I brought in, which is all about that energy of inspiration flowing into you that fills the coffers of your soul, that replenishes those 4 drops of ojas you have in your heart chamber. And part of that sadhana revolved around this question of what does my heart need now? Okay. So I really wanted to do this read and just bring it in and to see what there was to contribute in regard to this. Um, I see right here, bottom of the deck energy, we got the 10 of Cups. It's like these coffers are wanting to be filled. I think the one thing that's really coming through for the collective right now, and Julie, I'll get to your comment in a minute. I want to get into my download first so I don't lose it because I got an initial download coming in for this. I think the thing that is like blocking the collective the most right now and just receiving what they are desiring is to really sink into the receptivity of that heart space and maybe tell themselves what can be some difficult truths about what they are really needing, because perhaps what you really need, what your heart really needs right now, requires you to take an action that requires your courage. It might require you to step into unknown territory. You might have some fear around that. You might just be kind of like stuck in a rut, very comfortable in your position, even though it's uncomfortable. There's a way that we can kind of make a home of a rut, that we can get acclimated to the discomfort. And so to step out of that seems almost overwhelming because there's no predictability to it if you step into something new. So there's this piece coming in simultaneously, that what the heart needs, what the heart wants at this time, adds a certain level of complexity to the present situations that are keeping the collective stuck sort of in the rut. But there is a necessity to get in touch with this truth and really own that, and then take action from that place based on understanding what your heart is needing. That really is the key to receiving fulfillment at this time. So, I mean, 10 of Cups, that's ultimate fulfillment. All right. And for a lot of you, this is happening in matters of the heart. It is happening around love. It's happening in how you view relationships, what it means to come together with another in relationship, how you can come together with another in relationship, and just bringing in that Pluto in Aquarius energy, do so from a place where there's still the respect for freedom, there's still the respect for individuality, there's still the respect for the cultivation of one's own path, because that's so necessary when it comes to our own personal spiritual growth or personal growth. So these things coming in, just sort of bringing in a point of focus for all of us. So I thought we would let the tarot just give some insight into this, help us understand what we are needing. And from understanding that more clearly, then we can be at a place where we can start to get over that, and we can take some actions in that direction, no matter how small, just to get the energy moving. And it was 7-11 when I brought that in on on the clock. 7-11, that's all about luck. It's about synchronicity. It's about coming into alignment. Then it's sort of like you create the avenue for that creative force, that spirit to come on through, the inspiration, and you get things moving. You're no longer stuck at the crossroads. So let's see what you say here, Julie. I like to clear ancestral trauma and curses when I was doing the dishes. My hands in the water bring in a lot for me, like scrying. Yeah, they call that kitchen witching too, when you're cooking, or it's all the same trip. It's just putting a prayer to your daily activities, using them as a devotional act, to do, like you're saying, do some kind of healing work, or get some kind of insight, some kind of clarity, some kind of guidance coming in. And there's this piece too, that might be really helpful. I'm getting that right now, that spirit's kind of bringing in this piece of, in order to get in touch with what you really need in your heart, the first step might be opening up to that inner guidance, and that maybe you can clear some of what's been blocking that channel, what's been blocking the guidance from coming in, by actually looking at your physical environment, looking at the state of your home. Is there any kind of cleaning, organizing you need to do? Is there anything you need to throw away? Do you have remnants of old rituals that you're still hanging on to, that's just keeping that old energy charge present? And maybe that's why you haven't seen the manifestation for any kind of ritual work you've been doing, because you have been holding on to it. You haven't released it yet. Before you can see manifestation take root, you have to release it. You have to let it go and do its thing. So maybe looking at your environment and seeing, where does it look like in your environment the energy is kind of blocked up, where you feel like you could create a better flow. I'm thinking flow immediately. I'm thinking feng shui, or working with Vatsu, which is the Ayurvedic way of moving items around in your environment to sort of get like a different template. It's like using your living space as a vision board, really. And understanding how the energy in your environment flows most conducively, based on direction, and just what certain sectors of your home are attuned to. Like, this is the area devoted to love and relationships, and this is the area for finances, and this is the area for higher learning. So this is very helpful. I don't know how many of you have had experience with working with feng shui or Vatsu, but you might want to look into that. Just kind of do a Google search, and you can find like a Bagua map or a Vatsu map that lays out like sort of a template that you can kind of superimpose over your structure. And it usually goes by directional of where your front door is. That's how you place the map over your home. And it gives you a template that outlines like what each sector of your home is for. And it's interesting because it's interesting this piece is coming in because I just had funnel in home is where the heart is, right? Home is where the heart is, and we're like sinking into our heart. And so there's almost this piece coming through from spirit that's like your home right now and what's going on in your home is really a template for what's going on in your heart and also what your heart is needing. So they want y'all to bring some attention to this week. They want you to really look at your atmosphere. Do you have any fresh vitality coming into your home in terms of colors and in terms of plants and flowers, things along these lines, is it kind of dusty in your home? Are you feeling kind of dusty in your heart center? Like, I got to dust this thing off. My heart hasn't had attention in a long time. So there's a piece about this, really rooting it in your home, using that as a template. Not only for manifestation and calling in what you need and having more clarity about what your needs are, I think you'll do a lot of processing this way. And they're sort of asking you to make this part of your sadhana. I feel like this is part of the sadhana. It is part of the ritual work this week. Do a bit of that kitchen witching, do a bit of that house cleaning with intention. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, maybe that's the time for you to put that out there, to more people that you offer that, do some promotion of that because it's what people could use right now. So this is like what it's all about at this time. It's really about bringing in these elements and understanding how they're templates of, what's going on internally. Our environment directly speaks to what's happening on our inner planes. It's the same thing, macrocosm reflected in microcosm, only now you're taking it to the microcosm level, and it's like the macrocosm is you, and your home environment is the microcosm. So this can really help out. This can really create some kind of flow, some kind of understanding that opens things up for you emotionally, and can be very beneficial. Very beneficial. So yeah. I mean, Amanda, you should explore that. You should explore putting that out there. If I were you, I would use your social media and, put up some posts and talk about how you offer these services. And if you want, you can refer them to this video and what I'm bringing in about that. And, you can use that as a way to sort of like do some of this work. And maybe there's something you benefit from doing that work too. Right now, it opens up something in you. Maybe you're meant to do more of that work. Maybe that's how that message is coming through. You know what I'm saying? It might be that, Spirit's kind of calling you to bring some more attention to this. Maybe that's something that you find really rewarding, is coming in and beautifying spaces and making spaces more harmonious for people. And maybe that's an aspect of the healing work that you do that you haven't really looked at up until this point. How beneficial that is. I think that the most beneficial thing for any type of healing work is one of empowering the person you're working with. So if you can educate people about how to empower their environment, you know what I mean? So it best supports them in moving forward in their life in a harmonious way. Like, that's a beautiful gift of healing. And maybe there's something that can really come through for you creatively in that you get to explore by opening up to it. So that's an example of how to receive readings. Tune into the reads and they speak to you, in a different way. Everybody gets a different message out of what comes through. Yeah, I think that's great. And I love this kind of energy. I love working with people like that too. I love working with people like that too, where it's like, hey, it can be a reciprocal flow. We can share, and it can benefit everybody when we bring our gifts together like that. So very, very cool. Very cool. So yeah, let's just dive into this, okay? Let's just see what Spirit actually has to say. I've already been shuffling these cards a bit. I'm just going to give them a few more shuffles just to bring in some fresh energy right now. Spirit, give us a little guidance right now. What is the collective needing? What is their heart needing at this time? What can they do to provide those needs for the heart and to open up to greater clarity about what the heart space is in need of right now so they can receive, so they can open up to receive all the beauty that wants to pour into their life, all the new beginnings that want to come in, so they don't sabotage themselves and close up the space and miss the boat. Please give guidance, spirit. Please give guidance, spirit, in what's coming in. Yeah, I mean, this is really the work. I love this, how this is just kind of collaborating with the message that came in about, use your home as a creative space. It's that like whistle while you work kind of energy. Learn to look at what you normally view drudgery in a new way. And there's something about this. There's something about bringing attention to your physical environment, just noticing, like, what are your closets like? You got a lot of stuff crammed in your closets. Okay, well, what are you holding in the closet? Like, what do you got hiding in the closet? There's probably a lot of stuff you need to pull out. Maybe you're holding on to stuff that it's time to release it. Time to let it go. So let's see what's coming in. Spirit for all signs: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Ophiuchus, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. What is needed in the heart space? What is the collective heart needing at this time to feel fulfilled, to heal, to grow, to open up to blessings and new beginnings, to move into the space of love, move out of fear? What is the collective needing at this time in the heart space? Okay, I know you all got a blockage. Y'all got a blockage because this Ace of Cups, this new beginning that's wanting to come in. It's interesting that I brought this in with the whole Ace of Cups at Hana. Look at this right here. You got the Ace of Cups in reverse, collective. So this is about spilling out the opportunity. It's being closed out and spilling out the opportunity to open up into this new beginning in love. This new beginning in love. This is also overextending yourself, taking too much responsibility in your relationships to sort of keep things in a state of balance between you, to keep things harmonious. This is about pouring into others too much and not allowing yourself to receive the nurturing that you need. There's something here, collective. You need to look at this balance. I also got a message coming in here that this is for a lot of you creative types. You are putting a lot of time and energy into other things that take away from your art, or take away from your music, or take away from your time to focus on your crafting. It's something creative, and you're really doing a disservice to yourself with this, because there's actually a lot of like inspiration that wants to pour in for you at this time, that if you create the space to bring this in, there's something that comes through that's going to inspire a new beginning for you creatively, that could lead to a lot of abundance and fulfillment for you. But this is not receiving the opportunity. This is just dissipating your energy by being an overgiver, feeling like you have to take care of everything, you have to nurture everyone. That's how you kind of earn your place of value in people's lives, by overextending yourself. There's a need to really look at this balance, because this is everything's pouring out and nothing's coming back in. So first, right off the bat, you need to be able to move into a space of receptivity. The collective is really needing to learn this lesson of how to receive. It's almost like they're very comfortable with this piece of, showing up for others, caretaking, this kind of energy. But there's something happening here where there's not enough awareness about that being an even reciprocal flow. It really needs to be this mutual give and take in order for there to be balance. So, all right, what's getting in the way here? Yeah, look at this. We got the Tower in reverse. We got, oh my goodness, the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Y'all are resisting the growth and the work that's needed. And in order to even move into this space of receptivity, this new beginning in love, this new hope, this new, fulfillment in the heart space, it's being held back. It's being held back because there's resistance to allowing a tower to fall. You don't want to do the work that's required to have this growth in your life. The collective is clinging right now. The collective's clinging and it's preventing this new beginning. It looks like a new beginning in love. It's a new beginning that lands you in your heart. It's a new beginning that gives you happiness, inspiration, makes you feel very fulfilled. And you don't want it because you're still, it's like a lot of people are still like, they're not wanting to look at the truth in their situations. I believe this is coming up in the area of like relationships for a lot of people. There's a lot of people that they know that some connection is done. This could be with a lover, this could be in a marriage, this could be, I feel like it's very heart centered. This could be with, I'm also seeing the towers sort of like establishments falling. So to me, this is like you've been doing a certain line of work for a long time and it's been your bread and butter. You feel very confident in that work. You know how to do it, but you could do it with your eyes closed. It's not stimulating growth for you anymore. You're kind of like at the top of your game. You've reached that ceiling. You want to move in a more creative direction. You want to move in a more inspiring direction, but you're so afraid of the risk that takes and the hard work it's going to take to jump into this new direction creatively with how you work and how you earn your living in the world, that you're resisting, that you're staying stuck, you're not letting that tower fall. For others of you, it's like in a connection where the heart is really involved. This could even be within a family, be within a family dynamic. Maybe there's some kind of fracturing that's occurred in the family. Maybe there's something that can't be repaired. Maybe there is some kind of division that's taken place within a family, I'm getting. And maybe somebody's just really stubborn about not respecting somebody's boundaries. They're wanting to cling to the situation. They're wanting to work on it. And somebody's made it very clear that they want to pull their energy out. Some of the towers that are coming forward at this time are kind of harsh. It's really harsh and it's a lot for people to process and take in. I get that. Some of you have spent so much time in a marriage or in a relationship or with a particular friendship. And this person felt like, they were like your pillar of strength, or they were that really established thing in your life that gave you a sense of security, a familiarity. And even though it's been rough and it's been challenging, it's like you've always kind of equated this person, this connection as home. It's something foundational in your life. And so there's a lot of fear around releasing it because it really means you're heading into a brand new growth cycle. And initially with any tower, it's very destabilizing. And yet this is looming. This is looming. It's unavoidable. We got crossing energy here. It looks like it's about to move. Okay. So where you've been stuck holding on to this thing, we know that something's about to move, collective, because whatever was in the crossroads is heading on the upswing. It's coming out of the cross. Oh, spirit, the way spirit delivers the messages. I mean, we got the 5 of Pentacles to the death. This is done. There's nothing here. It's the 5 of Pentacles. If you want to continue to be in this space of lacking, feeling shut out, feeling like everything's gone cold, nothing's fulfilling, your abundance is blocked. I brought in this piece before, brought it in on readings before. Do you need to go potty? You do? Okay, Ted. Yeah, Ted's like, let me out of this space. I don't want to stay locked in this space. Let me out. This is very much like the kind of like hungry ghost kind of energy. Woo! It's when you're allowing past energy to hold you up so much that it starts feeding off of you. It's almost like it becomes an entity of its own and it keeps you in a space of lack. A lot of people don't recognize that if you know your truth, if you've arrived at a truth, maybe it's a harsh truth, it's a difficult truth, it's a painful truth, or somebody's spoken this truth to you, and it's necessary to release something, it's time to like end it with that death card there. I mean, time marches on. It's gonna end one way or another. It's already ended, but it's sort of like you're haunting the situation because you're still like holding space for it. You're hoping that somehow this situation is going to bring you in out of the cold and it can be what it used to be, but it won't. There's something that needs to be severed at this time. That might not make sense to you right now, but it will down the road. You know, can this be a business partnership? Absolutely. Look, it's the Five of Pentacles. So this could be very much you're doing this line of work, going to the job every day, you're clocking in, you're totally dissatisfied, you're not feeling it. The economic piece is really front and center this week. I'm not sure why that's coming in so strongly, but it came in on yesterday's read too. You know, you're sort of just doing what you have to do, but you know there's no growth here. You know, it's going to keep you in this stuck place until you release this. Until you cut this off, there's going to be no fulfillment. So if you're not digging where you're at right now, um, you're you can have your reprieve as soon as you want it. It's all up to you. You have to act on the knowledge of what you know is true for yourself. You have to let the tower fall, and that means releasing it, you know, releasing it. And if you're in a relationship or you're dealing, you know, with a social circle or a family dynamic where there's this cutting off energy where things have gone cold, but there's still this clinging to it. The tower is not fallen yet. You know, can you really imagine? Like, really look at this. What if this tower is not falling? Look at the atmosphere around this tower. This is what it feels like inside. You know, you're staying in this place though because you're not allowing it to fall. So the place is on fire. There's chaos. It's stormy. You know, it's very unstable. That's not a good place to stay because it creates a lot of anxiety. You know, a lot of fear. A lot of fear. So how can you move into a place of love if you're clinging to the very thing that's creating fear within you, that's holding you in a fear space? And when you do that and you hold on to like a relationship or some kind of family dynamic or some kind of social circle where it's very clear it's time to cut this off, you clinging to those things can start to act in such a way where you cross yourself. So you know, it's a bit of a jinx. You know, you end up blocking your energy. And by blocking your energy, you then start to suffer like financial loss. This can really prevent you from seeing forward motion in your life materially, you know, because we know this, it's affected in the pentacles. That's that earth energy. You know, that's tangible in your reality. This is wondering how the hell you're going to pay your rent. This is being concerned about, you know, where the next meal is going to come from. This is always having to, you know, borrow money or get further in debt or put it on the credit cards, you know. This is working really hard, and yet unexpected expenses are coming up constantly. And so you never seem to get ahead. All right. That's what happens. It's from holding on to something that you're not willing to release. It blocks your flow of manifestation and abundance. Massage practice died. COVID, family holding lies about my abuse and it left me to grieve without answers. Lover did too, but even worse as my heart goes. Yeah. Hmm. But see, there's these things, you know, bringing up that piece because that's some pretty sensitive, that's some pretty heavy stuff just around like family not wanting, not being willing to do the healing work, not wanting to acknowledge the truth. That's one of the harshest things in like a family dynamic where you're trying to heal something, but you have to look at the readiness of all the members of the family. And there's a lot of times where you may be ready for healing, you may be ready for the truth, you may be ready for that integration, and yet they can't meet you there. And sometimes that's a matter of that's the tower that you have to let fall, is like my family can't meet me there. And that's very painful. But I have to acknowledge that and I have to let it go. I can't continue to try to heal people or heal this situation, try to get people in a place of readiness to acknowledge this truth if they are making it very clear they can't meet me there. And by me holding on to this thing, all I'm doing is I'm preventing my forward motion and I'm blocking my abundance. I'm blocking my blessings because these people can't meet you there. And that's that piece of like, life's not fair, you know, it's not fair. There's injustices that happen, and sometimes the only thing we have, the only choice we have, the only forgiveness we find is in letting it go and accepting it, you know? Same thing with the lover. You know what I mean? It's like we never can, once we get to a position where our healing depends on anything outside of ourselves, we're in trouble, you know, and we're going to put ourselves in a position where we never get that healing we need. And that's why I think that piece also came in about sometimes we have to create closure for ourselves. That did come in the recent drop in we had on the live. You know, sometimes you need to create that closure for yourselves. And I do feel like there's a lot of people in the collective that are dealing with this. And I think the reason why people are dealing with these difficult closures, it's hard to release, is we really have to look at, we can't ignore what's happened collectively over the past few years. Our whole reality has been shaken up, right? Everybody got a collective tower. And that's something we all share in common. We all went through that together from 2020 on. And we're in this place of we're like starting to open back up to life again. But there's a lot that went down, right? There's a lot that went down over the past few years. And it also caused a lot of us with the way that whole experience with the lockdowns, with everything that happened, with the world just totally being like, you know, thrown off kilter and reality as we've known it, we all got shook to our core. And for some of us, yes, that really affected us on a very practical material level. You know, we lost our careers overnight. I know I had that experience, you know, very destabilizing. I lost everything overnight. And there's a lot of people who did. You know, not everybody was able to just flow smoothly through that. So there's a lot that's integrated there. Another thing that happened is situationships, right? Situationships, people ended up being stuck in relationships just because it was what was needed for stability with everything that happened. Okay, so there's this piece too. There's something to understand here about things aren't like that right now. We're moving out of that energy, but we also were given a certain education with everything that happened down over these past few years, everything that went down over these past few years, where we need to really reflect on that and really look at how we're moving forward. And so, in terms of any kind of healing work, you can't ignore this piece of what happened with that too, and the way there's need to really have this healing and sort of restabilization internally. And everybody is doing this work right now. Everybody's getting their sea legs, everybody's trying to get stabilized. So we all got this big like jolt, right? We all got this big like seismic shift in our life. And then simultaneously now we have Pluto's in Aquarius. It's like, okay, yeah, you had the death, you had the big death, and now it's time to open up to life and move into expansion and do everything different. You know, it's time for revolution. It's time to free yourself from what was holding you back. And a cardinal just flew past the window. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. And if we're expecting other people to give us, you know, what our heart is needed for healing or closure or any of this right now, I mean, good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. Let's be realistic. Like people just don't have the capacity. If there already was fucked upness, it's been taken up a notch over these past few years. People are just doing the best they can to move back into life, uh, needing needing anybody to provide anything for you in terms of your happiness, your healing, your wholeness. That that's you, you know, shirking your personal responsibility. It's not being accountable. We all need to be accountable. And we also need to have that compassion, that understanding that if somebody can't heal with us, or if somebody, you know, doesn't want to talk to us, or whatever that may be, you know, we need to respect that and understand that no amount of us staying put, holding out, wishing for it to be otherwise, wishing for this person to like see the light, have this like hallelujah moment, be willing to actually come and communicate in a way that, you know, you can meet on the same level and see eye to eye, is highly unlikely. And you could waste your life doing that. And meanwhile, when you waste your life and you waste your time like that, when you don't appreciate your time and you wait around on other people, you're going to find your time is wasted. Life will give you that experience just to educate you, to make you how aware of the way you're not appreciating your own time, how you're not appreciating the little bit of time you have. You know, if somebody can't meet you in the space you want to be met, if your job is not meeting you where you're capable of going, you know that you're capable of more. You know that you have more meaningful work to do in the world. And yet you're killing time here waiting for it's ridiculous. You know, this is like there's a lot of tough love. I'm really noticing it's like that Saturn and Pisces energy is bringing in the tough love even within the fluidity. It's like it's more like Saturn is now holding you to your highest ideals. Like Saturn is holding you to your dreams. Saturn is holding you to what you need to be fulfilled and is saying, you need to stop wasting time. You need to stop wasting time and stop holding on to old things and stop all the processing. There's a big piece, you know, about healing, about processing, about shadow work. There comes a point where it's like, you've held enough space for it. You've looked at it from every angle. You've bawled your eyes out about it. God knows how many times you've dove into your anger. You've done all the healing things. Maybe you've done workshops. You've worked with a therapist. You know, we can go down the list. And there comes a time where it's time to drop it and get on with it, because no amount of processing it is going to get you to where you want to go. You're just living in your head and you're living in the past. And as long as you stay steeped in this place constantly going over it, over it, over it, over it, and this is why it's kind of controversial. And I'm not telling anybody to stop their therapy or anything like that. That's all personal decision. But personally, I've seen people really get stuck in therapy. Stuck. Years go by. They're giving away years of their lives that could have been spent moving forward and having new positive experiences, new fulfilling experiences, because they're haunted by they are haunting their past. You know, they're living in that place of the hungry ghosts, and they're wondering why they feel so depressed, so unfulfilled. Nothing happens in their life. They can't seem to find a new love. You know, they're constantly struggling. That's why, because they're just holding space, so much space in their life for this old energy. There's no room for what you really need, what your heart needs to come in. It's really a big deal. And the thing is once you've processed everything emotionally and you've acknowledged the truth and you've felt your anger and you've processed this in therapy, there does come a point where if you still feel it clinging to you, then it's time to take it to more of a spiritual level. Like, do your release rituals, you know, call on your spirituality, call on your ancestors to help you have strength in releasing this burden. There's also the piece of getting it out of your physical tissues, taking it to that place of action, because you have cellular memory. And if you went through something that for you was really traumatic, and nobody gets to label what's traumatic for you, if it was a trauma for you, you need to understand that that's like all encoded in your cellular memory. And sometimes it requires you getting it out physically. So get moving. There's still this piece of like, you can't sit and stew on things and hold space for things and keep telling the stories about it, about this person did this to me and this person. If you stay in that space, like, you're harming yourself. Your heart can't get what it needs. You can't get that Ace of Cups, that new beginning. Yeah, look at this. Paulina Tarot. It's about writing a brand new story. This is my cover. This is my cover card, you know, the title card for this deck for the Paulina Tarot, but I've given it a very specific meaning. And isn't it interesting? We've had this piece about air and fire coming in together. And I think that that's really what's needed at this time is we need to let the, are you kidding me? A hawk just flew by. Wow. Spirit's coming through on this one today, okay? So it's like spirit's kind of hovering around. We had cardinal, okay, that's ancestor energy. And then we had, Hawk flew by just now. So that's messages from spirit. That's synchronicity. It's like saying like the guidance you need, the inspiration is you need to get moving forward, because horses are all about power and movement forward, right? But then with this air fire element coming in, it reminds me of like the cycle, the chain of manifestation. It first comes in from spirit, ether, akasha, comes in, and then it comes in through air, through the inspiration, of the intellect. We get an idea, it inspires us. We want to move forward with that. Well, to move forward with that, we marry it with our passion and our purpose. That's fire energy. And that's what moves us. It actually moves us out of the old energy. And it's like saying, please, we please get out of this, trying to solve the grand mystery of the past. That's what I feel is the problem, is you're still like trying to figure out the answers to the past. There's stuff that's hidden from you right now with the moon, and there's stuff that's been a mystery to you. And that's what's kept you in this place where you feel like you can't let it go with the Four of Swords in reverse. That's why you're holding on. You want answers. There's things that you don't understand with the moon. There's things that you intuit. There's things that you feel. You have certain like intuitive information around it. You feel like, I think I'm right about this, but you haven't been given the tangible proof. And it's weird. It's because you haven't been given this tangible proof that you're staying stuck, and you continue to stay stuck in this energy and holding on to this situation. But it's actually blocking the manifestation of that proof that you need. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. It's like it's sort of like we're being demanded to just step out on blind faith right now. If it didn't feel right to you, it didn't feel right. If a certain person is not feeling right to you, then it's not right for you right now. If there's something that you're not trusting, or if the situation feels really uncomfortable for you, you got to trust that. You got to trust what your intuition is telling you, even if you don't have anything to back it up. You got to be willing to look at a new way forward, right? With the Two of Wands, got to be willing to look at a new way forward. And maybe that's the big risk right now, is you are being asked to really trust your intuition. You're being trust to just go by where your heart's leading you to go, even if you don't have proof that it's valid to move in that direction. Or even if you have been holding on to a situation where you've been holding out for the truth, that's sort of like saying, you're not going to get it right now, and it's being concealed for a reason that you won't understand right now, but you will later. You will later. Because there's something key about this not knowing. There's something key about the not knowing being a big, oh, and I just said key, and we talked about watch out for the keys. Yeah, there's something key about this not knowing that actually is everything that's needed to spark your new beginning. It's like an initiation energy of sorts. It requires that you really step into your power, right? You have to trust yourself. If you're just going by your intuition, you have to trust yourself. And I feel like that's where all the medicine is coming in, collective. It's where all the reward is. That's what brings the manifestation with the Queen of Pentacles. Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay. This is also investing your energy and seeing it actually bring about a manifestation, actually seeing the change in your reality. It's not just a dream. No, I'm living it, right? But it is that energy where it's like, don't dream it, be it. You have to step into it. And as long as you're going to keep it in this internalized space while you're still playing out like your old role, that is like it's like a snake skin. You need to shed it. You need to release it and head into this renewal. Only once you release the old role, the old identity, the old relationship, the old job, the old whatever it may be. That's when you're going to move into this dynamic space where that air and that fire, feed. They feed each other, and then there's this like moving forward. That's like the feminine and the masculine, the creative force and the avenue, come together. And then you're going to actually find that, oh, wow, now my business is taking off. Oh, wow. Now the money's coming in. Oh, now I am feeling supported. My health is improving. That's another thing that can be affected. 44 on the clock. Your health can be affected if you do not move forward and let go of things that are blocking up your energy and aren't serving you. It all has an effect. And there's this piece too about heart health coming in specifically. What does my heart need? Well, the heart needs movement. That's important. Keep the circulation moving is very important, right? So look at how it even translates to the physical body. And likewise, contracted energy can have detrimental effect on heart health. Think about it. How do we get contracted energy? We get it with stress. Stress is pro-inflammatory. One of the biggest precursors for heart disease is stress. I know about this one well because heart disease runs really heavily in my family, really heavily in my family. And think about what happens. What happens to the arteries, right? They get constricted. Okay, they get constricted. So there's this piece too about how when we don't tend to our hearts, when we don't tend to the fulfillment of our hearts and go towards those things that really inspire us and keep us in that place where we're engaged with our lives because we're passionate about our lives and it fulfills us, we can actually cause, you know, we can cause cardiovascular issues, heart issues. We know about this. You've seen this happen. You've seen somebody pass away due to a broken heart. You know, maybe they're. This is why often in like relationships, like long-term marriages, where they get up in the years and then one partner passes away very shortly, the other will follow. It's because of that. If you got that contraction in the heart where you're holding on to the grief, it's a horrible stress. It can affect your health. I have been waking up with a film over my eyes that reminds me of the cloudy eyes when a snake is shedding. Ooh, that's powerful. Letting the scales fall from your eyes, Amanda. Letting the scales fall from your eyes. I feel like there's some big truth that's going to be revealed to you soon. Might surprise you. Might surprise you. Might be a truth about yourself. Interesting. I think you're going to see something very clearly in the near future with that one. That's pretty potent. Mm. Mm. It's funny because I'm drinking my coffee and the coffee just like splashed me in the face and I wake up and smell the coffee. I don't know. There might be something to that. I think that's a collective message too. It's all co-creative space. So like when you bring in your comments, I feel like it's also tapping into something that's going on, in the collective too. And I do feel we're in that age, we're in that period right now. We're at the tail end of the Kali Yuga, and it is a time of great revealing, and false structures are falling down. Um, and we're seeing things very clearly, and that awakening process is really, it's just beginning. It really is just beginning. It won't really kick off until we get to the point where Aries moves into the north node and Libra into the south node. Then the scales are really going to start balancing. Then justice is really going to come onto the scene. Then things will be very clear. There's going to be a lot of truths coming to a head this summer for real. And some of them will be very beautiful, liberating truths. Some of these will be truths that really truly does set the heart free, and some of them are going to be harsh, man, and some of those karmas balancing out are going to be rough, man. But it's all necessary, and it's all necessary for us to move into that Aries north node at that point and initiate a brand new cycle, because Aries is the first sign in the zodiac, right? First sign in the zodiac. So Aries initiates the whole movement. So right now we're still at that space where we haven't seen all the truth yet. We haven't. A lot of us may think that we have, but we haven't. I feel like for the collective, what's coming forward more strongly is it's a truth we haven't seen about ourselves yet. Oh, sentience. What is that? I feel like that's very true. Oh man, what is this truth that the collective isn't seeing about themselves right now? Oh, wait a minute. Let's make it interesting. Let's make it interesting. Let's open it up. Let's open it up. What is the truth that Air Collective is not seeing about themselves right now? What is the truth that Air Collective, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, is not seeing right now? What is the truth that Fire Collective, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius is not seeing about themselves right now? What is the truth that Fire Collective, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius is not seeing about themselves right now? What is the truth that fire collective is not seeing about themselves right now? Okay. What is the truth that water collective, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces is not seeing right now? What is, oh God, a lot. Oh my God. What the hell, water collective? Everybody else giving up one card. Water collective, we got 4 came up here, all in the crossroads. Okay. What is the truth that Earth collective is not seeing right now? Oh, y'all are really not seeing it. It flew out of the deck. It flew face down onto the floor. All right. And we got to look at that. When we look at the energies of water and earth, we're looking at kapha. When we're looking at kapha, we are looking at the final dosha in the chain of manifestation. We know that things can't come into being. There cannot be a new beginning until it's rooted in the water and earth. Okay, that is the final process of manifestation. And obviously, manifestation has got blockage right now because there's so much that's not being looked at. So let's see. Let's have a look at what came through here. What came through here? It's very interesting. Very interesting with what came up with fire. Very interesting. Okay. Well, let's look at air first. Air. You need to reconnect more with the power of no. Because the Hierophant, okay, and you just recently made a decision because the way this came in is it came in as face down but on the upturn, which lets me know that air signs, you have recently made a decision that is going to move you out of the crossroads. You're just about to. You're still weighing it up a little bit because air has a tendency to do that before they really get very clear. They want to make sure that they're like seeing the situation accurately. But I feel like air collective recently, you've kind of sort of disrupted your normal status quo. It's almost like viewing air as vata dosha. Okay, vata is not just air, vata is also ether. So I feel like this component is coming in. Ether is coming in very strongly for air sign collective right now, where you're going more into the ether end. You're not just hanging out in the air anymore, which is all about the thoughts. I feel like you're connecting more with your spirituality. And there's some piece about this. Like, I feel like you need to connect even more deeply with your spirituality right now, air. I feel like you're going to feel more steady in making your decisions the more that you kind of create space for ritual, the more you create space for maybe meditation or spending time in nature where you can really sit and hear the language of your soul is what I got. There's really this need for you getting really rooted in your spiritual practices right now, your ritual practices right now. Something about this is going to give you the clarity you need. And when we're looking in at the Hierophant in terms of coming up in a reading, the Hierophant, depending on how it comes in, is either yes answer or no answer. There's no additional, like attachment to it necessarily, okay? About it being like spirits telling you no or anything like that, because we have to remember that the Hierophant, the meaning of the Hierophant is the intermediary between you and spirit. Well, who is the intermediary between you and spirit? You are. You are. You are it. You already have a direct connection to spirit. The intermediary is the ego. Okay? That's a good way to look at it. I mean, on an external level, in terms of the collective, you could look at it as, oh, it's established religion. It's the priest. It's, these are intermediaries between you and spirit on a practical level, just in your earth walk. But the true intermediary between you and spirit is the ego. It's the ego. It's the thoughts. And I feel like there's been there's more of a need right now for you to get out of your head and connect more with the ether energy, air collective, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You really need to connect with your spirituality right now, whatever that looks like for you. But beyond all that, just getting into simple, bare bones divination. The Hierophant is a yes or no. That's it. And I feel like Spirit is telling you, you need to connect more with your no. You need to get more comfortable saying no. And I think that you've been having a little resistance to saying no to an opportunity, a direction, a person, place, or thing, Air Sign Collective, because there's still the part of you that's like kind of hung up on this like position of almost like, how can I put this? It's like moral responsibility or spiritual responsibility. Like you really want to make sure that you're moving through an experience in the right way, or that you're not abandoning something that maybe needs a little bit more balancing out, or, something along these lines where you feel a sense of responsibility in the situation just to handle things in the right way, to move forward cleanly from it, maybe create the proper closure, or not wanting to give up on something. But there's something here that Spirit's sort of saying, if you make the space to get in touch with your spirit more, you're actually really going to realize that this is not for you, and it's actually not your responsibility, and you need to say no. You need to get really comfortable with saying no right now. That's what you need to focus on. That's what you need to focus on. Now, I see here with Fire Sign Collective, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, you need to understand that you're a beginner. You still have things to learn. You don't have everything figured out with the Page of Pentacles here. All right? You don't have everything figured out. You're just starting to learn about the situations that are troubling you most. And there's going to be more information that comes in. And if you get too fixed in your position, thinking that you know everything and you have it figured out and you know what everybody else needs in the situation, if you go into that place where you let your ego kind of take control and think that, you have all the answers, you're going to find the way rough going, because you don't have all the answers right now, actually. And there's actually a lot of other people in your situation that you haven't even bothered to kind of see where they're at or understand their position. And because of that, you are going to be getting educated. This is what's coming in for you. You're going to be getting educated. I'm getting an assumption energy that's coming in with Fire Sign Collective. You're assuming a little too much about situations. And this is about understanding that where things have gone in the past, where things have gone off the rails in the past, or how situations have turned out in the past, and maybe you're expecting more of the same, or you have like certain experiences of your past that you're superimposing on your present situation that are not allowing you to get an accurate view, and you're kind of like repeating old patterns because of this. There's a need for you to open up your mind and be teachable. That's what I really got. It's a necessity to be teachable, to be able to get a new perspective and to understand that you're starting a brand new cycle. And so you're kicking off a new growth cycle. And there's a lot that's going to be coming in for you, and a lot that you didn't understand before that's going to give you all kinds of new revelations. All right. So your heart's really needing you at this time to open up your mind and to accept that maybe you don't have all the answers, and to be willing to learn and be willing to hear other people's perspectives and their experience in the situations that you share. Doing this allows for growth to come in. It allows for everyone to grow and things to move forward in a much more positive direction. Okay, Water Sign Collective, you got a lot. And it's all at the crossroads. You got Three of Swords. You got Seven of Swords. You got Ace of Swords. And you got the Hermit. Water Sign Collective, you are being challenged to speak the truth about a betrayal that caused heartache, about something that was done in the dark, some kind of, something that was done that wasn't quite right, something that was done underhandedly, maybe something that, thought that you would get away with or something. It could be something you feel a little guilty about, possibly. You might have some knowledge or something that you need to communicate that actually would relieve you of this. There's a need for you really to look at your heart, what's going on in your heart, maybe by spending some time by yourself in self-reflection, shining a light into these darker areas of what may be motivating you in situations. There's obviously some kind of betrayal that happened here with the Three of Swords to the Seven of Swords. This is somebody did something that caused heartache. Now, this could be that somebody did this to you, okay? And maybe you've been hiding out and you've been licking your wounds, Water Collective. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. I see this could work both ways, though, because when we're looking at Ace of Swords showing up, it's that this is what's holding you up at the crossroads. All of this came in at the crossroads, meaning this is what's jammed up at your crossroads. You're sitting with this and what's holding you back. We know this because aces are an ignition of energy. They're an action. That's what aces are. They bring forward what's needed for a new beginning. You got Ace of Swords. The truth is needed for a new beginning. The truth needs to be expressed. Until this truth is expressed, there will continue to be a holding up at the crossroads. And I want you to notice something very interesting about this Seven of Swords. Okay, we see that the problem here is heartache. Okay, there's been some type of injury here with the Three of Swords. Well, you got the Seven of Swords here. You notice that the figure is walking away with Four of Swords. Okay, Four of Swords. What is Four of Swords in the tarot? Four of Swords is about letting go. Four of Swords is about rest. Four of Swords is about peace. This person, with whatever action they took to the Three of Swords that caused injury to somebody, they disrupted this person's peace. They took away this person's peace. They took away the ability for this person to let go, have release. The withholding of this truth is preventing somebody from having the release, the healing, and the peace that they need from this grief and heartache. And this is a need to walk the path alone and to shine a light in the shadow to come to an understanding, or rather an inner standing about that, okay? To get things to move forward. Then the heart will have what it needs. The truth will set you free, okay? This is what's blocking up the movement in Water Collective, all right? And as I'm bringing in all these collectives, remember, we're working with the flow of manifestation. So we're also looking at it from a purely elemental level, all right? So this means also pay attention to where you have water in your chart. Where are you not expressing the truth? Or where have you maybe created injury that you're not owning up to and communicating about, okay? There's something that needs to be looked at here for self-reflection. I have a question about this, though. I have a question about this with Water Collective. I want to get a clarifier on this. I want to look at real bare bones basics. I want to know if this is an injury that Water Collective was involved in that they need to own up to and speak the truth about, or if it was something that Water Collective is processing where they feel that they were wronged, but they're not like owning that truth and expressing it. I want to know what side of the fence that's on. Spirit, give me clarity about this. Is Water Collective dealing with a truth they need to express about something they did that caused injury to another person? Some type of Seven of Swords action they took? Or is this an injury that was committed against Water Sign Collective that they need to bring out into the open and express? I want clarity on that. Where is that coming from? Where is that coming from? Because that can be very helpful to know how to focus that reflection, that time and space to the self for reflection. Where is that coming from? Was Water Sign Collective injured, or did Water Sign Collective injure? Where is this truth needing to come out? What is this about? Clarity, please. It's coming up in the shadow. Queen of Clubs in the shadow. That's a very clear answer. This is somebody using sexuality. Maybe somebody was a third party in a situation. Usually Queen of Clubs in the shadow is somebody who uses sex as manipulation, It's often considered the other person, the third party. This could have to do with a relationship where maybe you moved incorrectly or somebody operated that way with you. Could have involved a fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. There's some truth that needs to be spoken here. Okay. So pick what side you're on, water sign collective, but you know if you were involved in something like that. And there's this piece, you have to pay attention to this. You're going to be held up at the crossroads because this will come back around. It has to. It's necessary. It's a tower. It needs to fall. It will come out. Such as the times we're in right now. We know this will come back around. It'll come back around to bite you. And the sooner that there can be communication about it, no matter what side you're on, if you were hurt, if you were injured in this situation, and you had some fire sign do this to you, or if you were operating out of that, wands and shadow energy, where you were motivated by sexuality and you just wanted what you wanted and you didn't care about being the third party and you caused injury to somebody, we know this comes back around the bend. Because with the 7 of Swords here, look, took somebody's rest, took somebody's peace away from them. Do you realize? Here's a piece I want to bring in for all those who like to move like that, for those who like to, be the mistress or, be the backdoor man, all this stuff. I want you to think about this. When you do this and you're not just up front, when all parties aren't just up front and say, you know what, I want to open up our relationship because I'm attracted to another person or something along these lines, okay? The person who is being cheated on, all right, or done dirty in this scenario, like they have an inner knowing, they have an intuition that something's not right. They can feel it. But by the truth being withheld, it causes an immense amount of emotional duress for somebody. It puts them in their head. They're constantly worried. They constantly feel like something's off, like people are lying to them. They don't know who to trust. It causes a horrible amount of suffering. It's a huge amount of suffering to put on another person. Now, you'll hear a lot, in tarot, people talking about, oh, people putting hexes on people. I can't think of a greater hex than to play this role in a connection and, do something sneaky and subversive like that. You have to understand you've inflicted a lot of harm if you've moved like that. And that does come back. And we know it comes back because where you took away somebody's peace and stability with these 4 of Swords, thinking you'd get away with it, look what comes right back at you. The very thing you inflicted on them, 3 of Swords coming right at your back. And I think you know it. Those of you who moved like that, you know it. You're looking over your shoulder. You know it will come back. That's a role reversal situation. So no matter what side you're on, if somebody did this to you, water sign collective, you need to call them on it. You need to call them on it. You need to out them. Or if you know somebody's been doing this and you have this information, you're withholding it from somebody that you care for, that you see has been suffering, like you need to have that. And it's going to weigh on you until you do. Because then you're a participant. You're actively participating in that dynamic of keeping somebody in that space of not knowing and suffering. And if you've been somebody who's like listened to this person express their hurt and their confusion and what they're going through, and you're acting like you're a supportive person in that person's life who's dealing with this, worried that their partner is like stepping out on them, not understanding what's going on, and you've known the truth all along, you've just like nodded your head and you're the good friend. That's dirty. You know what I'm saying? No matter what side of the equation you're on in this situation, truth is what will set you free. There's a truth you need to speak, and your heart needs that truth, whether it's you expressing it to the one you injured, or whether it's speaking it to the one who hurt you, okay? Or whether it's putting somebody in the loop that's dear to you that has been kept in the dark because you had the answer all along to what they needed to find their peace, their stability, and you've been holding it inside, and now it's eating away at you because you're feeling guilty about that. Some piece about that coming through very, very strongly, okay? Got Queen. Yeah, look at this. Bottom of the deck energy. It's been a horrible burden with the 10 of clubs. Horrible burden. It needs to come to light. There's a truth that needs to be spoken here. Somebody didn't move correctly. That's the story. I'm sticking to it. It's what's coming in, and it's being backed up by the cards. Out of the deck energy here. Yeah, this is how you can bring balance to this situation with the 2 diamonds in a light. You got to bring forward the truth. There's some truth that needs to come forward here. All right. What do you got here? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It causes a lot of suffering. Yeah, I personally, to be honest with you, as somebody who's been on the receiving end of that before in my life, I consider it a form of mental abuse, emotional abuse. I do. I do. And you have to question it, why are you holding that in? It's not really fair. And it's also it's binding because you are preventing somebody from having the truth that would set them free so they can move forward. And it's mentally manipulative. It's a horrible thing to do to a person. So there's something here really needs to be addressed. And when we look at the water sign energy, that's all about the heart. It's all about the heart and the emotions. So it's like if we got this going on in Water Sign Collective, like no wonder things are such a mess. Like water, you hold down that quality of love and emotions, and feelings. So something really needs to be cleaned up here. Really needs to be cleaned up here. And then the final one I pulled was for Earth, and Earth just had one 9 of Cups in reverse. Okay, so when we have the 9 of Cups in reverse, what you need to look at is the ways that maybe you're too focused on personal gratification, too much locked into that I need, I want, and not considering how that affects the greater whole. Okay, because that's what 9 of Cups in reverse is. 9 of Cups in reverse can be about greed. It can be about just wanting what you want and not worrying about how it affects anyone else. It can be selfish. It can be um, it can be gluttonous too. It can be like overindulging. Um, it's very much kind of like a greed consciousness. There's a selfish charge to 9 of Cups in reverse, right? So this would be a case of, I would say, coming through for Earth Sign Collective that maybe do a little to like kind of give back, you know, to pour into others a little bit. There might be too much focusing on what you need in a situation, what you're getting out of a situation, and not really considering all the different people involved in your situations that you're struggling with, or there's some factor that you're not looking at where you're not seeing the whole picture, kind of just too focused on your own position or your own needs. There's more, I'm getting like a need for more reciprocation coming in, less just take, and more kind of like an even give and take, a reciprocal flow. I want clarity on this too for this Earth here. Since this factors in so strongly with our ability to manifest what we want to bring into being. Give a little bit more clarity here for Earth. What is Earth needing at this time? Um, to sort of like move more into a reciprocal flow and maybe to consider the others involved in their situations that they're grappling with, because we know you guys kind of been held back. Yeah, look at this. It's the 2 of Clubs is in the shadow. You all are only looking at what you want. You're like, you got like this myopic view right now where you're not considering the whole picture. I want more on this. What does Earth Sign Collective need to consider about the whole picture that they can't see right now? What is it that Earth Sign Collective's not seeing? Here's in the light. Jack of Diamonds, okay, that is your energy, and it's coming up in the light. Jack of Diamonds, they are very committed. They're very committed. They are very trustworthy. When they say they're going to do something, they do it. They move forward. And this is also about making some tangible offer to another. Usually, the Jack of Diamonds has some kind of offer they want to extend to another, and they are very honest about that. They're very serious about it. But it's always about kind of looking at the big picture and understanding what it takes to really bring a new beginning into being, and putting it on a very stable foundation. So there's something here. Maybe Earth Collective, there's more than just you involved in like this new beginning you want to see happen in your life. And you need to really look at building a strong foundation that accounts for the other people involved in your situation as well, if you want it to have a strong foundation and have this new beginning. Yeah, because right after that comes the King of Diamonds. Okay. So this is coming in very strongly. If there's going to be growth in this situation, there's really a need to consider outside of just your own needs. What are the needs of the other people involved in your situation? And what is the role that they play? And maybe also valuing their role, their contribution in that and building that. That's what puts you in the heart center, okay, with the Jack of Hearts. So oh, I love it. That's what merges the heart and that's what merges water and earth as well. So there can be growth. And maybe that's it. You need to bring more of your heart into it. A little less focus on the end result, more softening around the heart, more vulnerability in the heart, more willingness to see things maybe from other people's perspective or see how their needs are important too. Okay. Yeah. Because right now, with the 8 of Diamonds coming up in the shadow, there's too much focused on what you're building, what you're working on. You're just considering what it'll bring you, and it's not considering with the 5 of Diamonds in the shadow the needs of others. There's an inequity here. There's an inequity here where somebody is on like the losing end of that. So it's not really a fair exchange of energy. Okay. So there's more coming in around Earth Collective, and really look at where you have Earth in your chart. Okay. Look where you, and look at your Earth houses. Okay. So when we're looking at Earth, we're looking at Taurus. That's the second house. We're also looking at that Taurus North Node, which is significant. We're all supposed to be moving into that Earth energy, right? Of the Taurus North Node. So this is something we really need to be mindful of. Where are we not, really being in a balanced position? Where are we only thinking of our needs and not really considering the needs of others as well? And understanding that it takes a village, and sometimes this is very necessary that we really consider the broader picture, not just our own little view. Okay. It's important for everybody's needs to be met in this situation. I see that this is what brings healing and togetherness, brings in the balanced Venusian energy. All right. And that's very applicable, I feel, for Taurus, for that to come in right there. 6 is the number of Venus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Okay. And it's also that Taurus North Node. All right. Confirmation on that. That's what brings things together. That's what brings healing in the heart. That's what brings reconciliation, reunion. It's so important. There's a need to end this old way of looking at things, with the 10 spades. Okay, that's pretty clear. That's pretty clear. I don't know. I mean, I think this really feels complete to me, just as far as the work that needs to be done and what each of the collectives needs to kind of look at, hold space for. And please, don't get so distracted about that you just think it's all about other people. Do remember that you have all these elementals that play out in your chart as well. So look at your chart, get to know your chart. Taurus is the second house, okay? Virgo is the sixth house and Capricorn is the 10th house. All right. So look at all those areas. Second house is all about finances, what you value, your personal values, as well as your valuables. It's about your energy, your time, what you invest in. All right. And knowing your worth, what's meaningful for you. That's second house. When we're looking at Virgo, that's the sixth house. That's all about your work ethic. It's all about your work, all about your work ethic. And there's been a lot that's been coming in. It's not just about the money. It's not just about chasing the success. I could see that playing out that way with Earth Collective. It's not just about that. Is your work meaningful? Are you presenting something that's valuable? Is your offering valuable? Does it come from a pure place? Does it come from your heart? Are you passionately engaged with it? There's this piece coming in too. And then 10th house is like your reputation. It's your standing. It's your success. It's how you're perceived on a larger scale. Like, how does the public perceive you? It's your image. It's your brand. So it's interesting that a lot is kind of coming up around that whole arena with Earth Sign Collective. So this is really about looking at, what you're putting out there for the collective, the things that you're building, the projects you're working on, your business endeavors, all of this. Is it just all about you? Is it all about you getting the status? Is it all about you getting the success? Or is the work you're doing really aligned with your heart? Are you bringing something forward that has value to the collective, and also looking at how you're serving your clients. How are you interacting with the people you work with? What quality are you bringing forward? Is it just about the reward, or is your heart in what you're doing? This is an important balance to redress here. Okay. Feel that very strongly. I think that all feels really good. I just want to get like maybe one of these. Now let's do the Halloween Oracle to just get an overarching theme, and let me catch up on some of these comments here. Yeah. Yeah, it's just important. It's important. Just everybody should just tell the truth, just tell the truth, state your intentions, that it's the biggest problem, and maybe that's why there's been so much that's been coming forward about air, collective air and fire, air kind of being first out of the gate. Because air is very much that is the spirit of air sign collective, is the swords, communication. When we're looking at Libra, balance, in the form of justice, karma, truth. So there really is this piece coming forward. And so when we got air, spirit's coming through telling air, really connect with spirit more. And then it's also saying, get ready to say no, like value your no more, get in touch with your no more. We know right off the bat that there's been things that have been unfair, imbalanced, things that have been unjust, and these things need to be revealed. And we need to say no more to that. We need to stop that. We need to not tolerate that. We need to not tolerate things that are unfair. We need to walk away when we know that somebody's lying to us, or where there's truth being withheld, where there isn't that honesty, where there isn't that candor, that openness. This is about standing in your truth, and really bringing in, merging. Let's bring it up with the tail end of that earth energy, merging it with your sense of values, what's true for you at the end of the day. And if something's out of alignment with that, even if you don't have, all the pieces of the puzzle yet, so you feel like you can't call out a situation, so you feel like you don't even get the chance to speak your truth. This is coming in right now, so I have to say it. I think there's also been a lot of people that have been dealing with situations that are like, people have been gossiping about them. People have been spreading rumors about them. People have been like, planting seeds in people's ears. There's been a lot of manipulation in this regard. And if you're withholding the truth about that, from a person, if you're not like addressing them directly, and instead you're, spreading a bunch of rumors, or you're like taking out, your aggression or your upset with a person by talking a bunch of smack about them, and trying to ruin their reputation or something along these lines, with that truth being withheld, it doesn't even allow that person to like defend themselves. It doesn't even respect another's right to, speak their truth and to be able to defend themselves, And so there may be a lot of, air kind of going cold and being like, done, no. It's coming very, very clearly through for collective. Like, you need to say no, collective, air collective. You need to say no. And for those of you who, don't have any air signs in your chart, again, you need to look at, the house. Gemini's the third house, communication. You need to communicate your no. Let people know the answer is no. I'm not going for another round of this. I'm not tolerating this. I'm not going to put up with more of this. There's a need to communicate the no. There's empowerment in saying no. Maybe it's always been hard for you to say no. Some of you may have no practice in that. You're yes people. You're used to saying yes all the time. You're used to acquiescing. You let people bully you into that position. And it's going to be a real empowerment for you to stand up, and you'll feel very aligned with spirit once you do, once you just stand in your strength and you say, no. No is a really solid boundary line. It means do not pass, and people don't realize what an affirmative yes statement it can be, to be strong in your no and to communicate your no. When we're looking at Libra, we're looking at the 7th house. That's all in relationships, all right? So some of you really need to say no to certain relationships. You need to get up from the table. You need to not hold space for certain people. in your life anymore. And it's not that you have to do so from a place of, um, aggression, resentment, bitterness, a desire to get revenge. It's just a simple no. I'm not giving to this energy anymore. I'm not participating in this energy anymore. I'm not an option in this situation anymore, whatever it may be. And then when we're looking at Aquarius, we're looking at our social circles, our networks, social media specifically. Okay. And some of you need to say no on social media. You need to do some blocking, you need to block some people. If people are being really disrespectful to you, you need to just straight up cut them off, block them. You don't need to deal with any nonsense. If somebody is, just not really worth your time, or they're constantly bringing stress, aggravation into your life, just cut it off. It's really simple on social media, and some of you might need to spend a little time away from social media, especially if you've been dealing with people that have been passive aggressive, or they've been trying to get a rile out of you, that. Or if you find that you have too much trouble, minding your own business on social media, and you're too invested in watching what others have going on, right? We're going to bring that energy in too, right? So there's really this need to woo. And with that, a bunch of cards came down, so I'm going to take those. We got a few cards. So I think this is sort of like the final wrap up message here. A couple of them came out crossing. They're all face down. They're all on the ground, right? So this is kind of like, we really need to pay attention to this, all right? So what we have here is we have joy, rejoicing in the present, all right? Night song, I love it. Hidden talents, okay? And we had a cardinal fly by, so I love this, love this, love this. Midnight, the most magical hour of all. And spider in reverse, community and web weaving. And we were just talking about Aquarius and the World Wide Web and social media. And it's in reverse. Oh, what's this crossing energy? I just got to see. Werewolf, exploring wildness, and ghost, regret in reverse. I love it. I love it. Yes. Look, this is why that was coming through so strongly for air. It's like, look, you need to just tell yourself the truth about what is working against you and what you're investing your energy in, people you're still holding space for, tables you're still sitting at, that when you get up from the table, they're all talking smack about you with each other. You know what this is about. And you may not have all the proof, but let's look at what that air energy is about. Okay. Ether, air. Energy doesn't lie. All right. So this is about you trusting your intuition. And I feel like that's a big challenge for wherever you have air in your chart. But we know as a collective, we're all dealing with these elementals, and you have air houses in your chart, even if you don't have air placements. Okay. So this is like, really, we're being asked to get out of that linear mind, and we're being asked to work with, we've been too linear. It's like, no, you need to like tap back in to spirit. All right. You need to tap back into spirit. That's what will root you. And moving forward, you need to trust your intuition. And where it doesn't feel right to you, where certain circles don't feel right to you anymore, where you feel like you've outgrown it, where you walk into a room and they were talking about you, and it don't feel right, or where maybe you get little hints from people, like they give you a little hint, but they never really tell you what's going on. Whatever it is, energy doesn't lie. You need to start trusting that, because it's these very connections that are preventing you from moving into expansion in your material reality. These connections are working against you. They're blocking your reach. They're blocking your forward progression. They're blocking your manifestations. They're blocking your abundance. And you're meant to connect with a wider community right now, so you can really move forward in an empowering way. We see that what's coming in for you is an awakening of your hidden talents. Okay. This is what can happen too if you're dealing with, communities of people or relationships that are sabotaging. It can also really sort of start to wear away your self-esteem. And there's something about you really need to move out of all this drama. Let these people have it at it, okay? Especially in the reverse. These people will get tangled up in their own web. That's what happens. That's what happens. They're going to end up turning on each other because then soon they're not going to trust each other anymore. This is what happens in situations like that. That's why you need to say no and move away from it. Rejoice in the present. Look at the tree. It's releasing all the dead leaves. It lets it go joyfully. Be happy about this. Let it fall away. It's your joy. Come into the present moment. Let that be the past. As soon as you say no, no is a line in the sand. It's the point of demarcation. That was then, this is now. That's no longer part of my reality. All right. I feel like doing so allows you to really step into your talents. And notice it says hidden talents. It lets you be seen and recognized for your talents because you don't realize the way these people were sabotaging you. And as soon as you move away from this energy, it frees everything up for you. You get to step into everything that you built for yourself. You finally get the recognition. You finally get the abundance, the balance in your life. And by you saying no and walking away from it as well, if there's been any tarnishing of your reputation by people slandering, spreading gossip, working against you on that level, the proof is in the pudding by how you show up, by you not engaging in the drama, by you saying no and you walking away and doing your own thing and focusing on what you're here to do, by taking these talents that you've had hiding and letting them be seen, sharing them, focusing where there's actually, growth and renewal and fulfillment by bringing your gifts forward. And I think you're really about to see the magic of this. You're heading up to that time. You may have been wondering, like, do I get to go to the ball? Makes me think of Cinderella, that stroke of midnight. Do I get to go to the ball? Am I ever going to have that moment of that recognition? Oh, you're about to head into the most magical hour of all. But it involves you saying no to what doesn't work for you. And we know there's no regret about this. With this regret, ghost, and reverse, this is giving up the ghost. This is what we were just talking about that. The beginning of this read about how you're like haunting your past. You're living in regret, looking back, sitting and stewing on. This is giving up the ghost. There's nothing to regret. You don't need to worry. You don't need to hold on to this any longer. There is nothing to get here. There's nothing. It's a barren field. Nothing's going to grow here. You're being asked to grow. It's not about can it grow with this person, this situation. You can't base your life on any kind of growth that requires other people's involvement. This is about you choosing growth. And by you choosing growth and you moving forward and moving away from what doesn't feel good to you, what has betrayed you, what is keeping you in this state of, being embroiled of all these constant questions and confusion and not, I'm sorry. But if you're dealing with people where you don't know what the hell is going on and nobody's being honest and there's too much confusion and ambiguity, you need to cut the cord on that. That is not worth it. That is not what you want to be aligned with, because confusion is a tool of manipulation and it keeps people disempowered and stuff, trying to figure things out. And it also causes you to doubt yourself. So anything that's putting you in that position, it ain't it. It ain't it. It ain't it. The stuff that's coming in right now, that's coming into alignment, it's got flow. It's got flow. You'll know there's no blockage. Just like you step onto that path, everything opens up. All the support opens up for you. Everything you need comes into alignment. All right. So you need to pay attention to this right now. You don't worry. You say no, you're not going to have any regrets about this. You're going to feel so good. It's going to release a burden from you because it's time for you to explore wildness. Okay. It's time for you to get back in touch with that. We've had Wolf as a guide, for our whole journey we've been going through over these past, 37 days now. All right. We're coming up to the tail end here. This has been a 40-day journey we set out on together. And throughout this, we've been building it step by step, getting more in touch with our intuition, getting more in touch with our instincts, sensing the way forward, working with that pathfinder medicine. And so this is about you stepping onto that path, right? Stepping into the unknown, saying no to what doesn't work for you and what you're ready to move away from. Understanding, yeah, that means I'm moving into the unknown. And you could look at that and you could have fear about that, or you could flip the script on that and you could start feeling enthusiastic because it also means anything is possible. So why not get excited about it? It can be anything you want it to be. You know what doesn't work, so you're not going to invest in what doesn't work anymore. You can start putting it towards what actually makes you feel good, what excites you. And so it's something you should get excited about. And this is about exploration and getting back in touch with the wild nature, you know? It reminds me of that saying, wild women don't get the blues, or wild men, pick what side you're on with that. But, when we move into that space where we're being led, by our wild nature, where we're just really in touch with where the energy's pulling us to go, that's when life gets magical. That's when it gets exciting. That's when we enter that magical hour and we pull something off at the last minute. And that's a beautiful thing. All right. Looks pretty clear. Because this is the live for the Aries Point, I just want to open up the floor now. I'm going to kind of clean up these cards here, get a little sip of my coffee, while I give you all the chance to type away, because I know that it takes time to type something up. But if you have any questions about the material for this week's lesson, I think you found that this last week's lesson is more focused on just really coming into the heart center. It's more about the spiritual work, the spiritual focus, and decadence and pleasure. It's not a lot of work. It's more about moving into that place of really just luxuriating and opening up to your heart again, letting your heart have more of a say, giving back to yourself in pleasurable ways. I really love the last week. It's a really beautiful thing. Such a powerful reading. Thank you. Feeling the fire today. Yeah, I feel it too. I don't know. It's interesting. I've noticed I've been moving a lot of fire myself just in my own process. That's really come up for me. I would say it came in about the middle of last week, and it sort of continued on, off and on, where I'll have a huge wall of fire come forward. And I've been creating a channel for my fire by dancing. I've been putting on Fela Kuti and doing some Orisha dance and just letting the energy out, letting the energy flow. And for me, that's super healing. And it feels like my kind of safe space to let go, let all the ugly out. The Orisha definitely allowed me to do that, and the energy feels very grounded. And so I've been able to just let out a lot of my anger, a lot of my frustration. A lot of it is really old stuff. I've been so surprised. I feel like this particular journey, this round of Panch Karma for me, I keep getting to deeper and deeper layers of ama that have been coming up. It's deeper, deeper layers of grief, deeper, deeper layers of anger. It's old, old, old. It's stuff I didn't realize has been there as long as it has. Some of it's going back to childhood. I mean, it's just so deep. There's so much that's been coming up. And for me, the tail end of this has been a lot of moving these walls of fire that have held back my tenderness, that have held back my softness, my sweetness. I realize I've gone a lot more into my fire, and I need to kind of let some of that fire dissipate so I can come into that kapha energy more, which is that grounded, soft, open, tender, compassionate, So I've been kind of doing this dance between the two where I've been doing this dance quite literally. I've been doing my Orisha dance, or sometimes I like to crump, I like to work with really aggressive music and just get it out of my body. And that's felt really good for me. It's moved the creative energy. It's created a safe container. It also feels respectful around releasing my fire, and allowing the creative energy to come through at the same time. I've been holding this intention throughout, that feminine being covered by the masculine. So, I mean, I've been working with really kind of masculine, intense music, and doing really kind of very more aggressive forms of dance, like crumping, and it's been super cathartic for me. And African dance really allows you to just get it out of your body, or just dancing ugly and not caring how it looks, just letting the music work through me. And I found that after I do that, I release the fire. Oh, it feels so good. And I've been feeling all this expansion like in the crown when I do that. It's like it gets it out of my head. It's like my head feels so much clearer. And then beyond that, then I'll have like a day of two, just like deep emotional release, like letting the tears flow. And I've been working my lymph through that and all of it. It's been feeling really good. I'm definitely at the liquid fire stage, which is where we want to be, in this kind of a process, because that's the transformation point on every level, mind, body, spirit. But I am really looking forward to this week, just like, okay, enough of the fire stuff. Let's kind of like come into the water, come into the earth, and doing some of this like luxuriating and pampering and just allowing myself to feel that safety and embrace that embrace of the goddess energy, that Shakti, that divine feminine energy. And so I'm looking forward to this week and just pampering myself. And I'm even doing that with my exercise this week. I've got into doing some more at the kind of like I was doing a lot of strength training, and more like high intensity interval training and stuff last week. And that helped me move so much fire and it was great. But this week I'm really respecting the flow, so I'm feeling more like yoga, walks, maybe more dancing, but not such, maybe more fun dancing, moving more into the just like pleasurable dancing. I'll put on some Rick James, I'll put on my funk later and have some fun. But it's been feeling good. So yeah, there was a lot of fire that came through today. I think it was good. I think it was good. And it's food for thought. I'm going to watch back this week because there'll be reminders I need through it. It's work for me to do too. So I'm definitely going to pull out my chart and look at where I have these different placements and where I need to bring attention and focus in regard to these elemental influences. Anything else? I think that's it. Thank you so much for all of you being on this journey with me. Fire and desire. All of it. My favorite Rick James song is Give It to Me, Baby. I love that song. That is my jam. I honestly, I go to the church of Rick James probably a good, like, I'd say 5 days a week. I'm always listening to Rick James. Me and Ted like to listen to Rick James. We dance around with each other and I throw him the ball and I don't know. Rick just speaks to my soul. He speaks to my soul. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you enjoy this last week's lesson. Sink into your softness, pamper yourself a little bit, be real nice and loving to yourself, and embrace the last week's lesson on whatever level you're comfortable with right now. You don't have to, do all the things that are outlined there. You could pick just one thing to focus on, or you may choose to, be inspired by what was brought forward and, create something totally of your own. All right. But I will be back tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. We'll figure it out. And I'm going to be a little bit easier with myself with the lives this week because I feel like my throat has needed a rest. I need a little rest. I need to be able to receive a bit this week too. So I think this is going to be my only video for today. I'll bring back another love read for Sagittarius. The Spring Fever Wildcard love read for Sagittarius will be coming in tomorrow. All right. So be on the lookout for that. But I just want to pace these out a little bit this last week so I don't get too tired when I'm supposed to be focusing on receiving with all of you this week. Okay, so thank you for dropping in with me, for being on this journey, and like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate all of you. See you tomorrow.